One Zambia, One Nation. Thank you so much for joining us on Zanis News. To present it, I'm Michelle Olubinda. The headlines. Government to vaccinate 33,000 animals in Kazungula against anthrax. $40 million Kwacha climate funds disbursed to 38 Mungu cooperatives. Zambia to host the 10th African Union Extraordinary Meeting on Health, Population and Drug Control. Plus, government to incorporate national principles values in school curriculum. The news in detail. Southern Province Veterinary Coordinator Kabwe Puta says about 33,000 animals in Kazungula district are targeted for vaccination against anthrax disease. Dr. Puta says government working together with its cooperating partners is carrying out sensitization meeting among communities on the dangers of the disease and how they can handle the infected animals in order to protect themselves. Costa Mdenda has more in the following report.
The mass vaccination campaign against anthrax disease in Southern Province has continued. In Kazungula district, more than 30,000 livestock animals have been targeted for vaccination.
We are targeting about 33,000 in Kazungula in general to vaccinate all the animals against anthrax.
We have set ourselves in a way that we have crash pens or vaccination sites around the camp that are dotted. Of course, we are taking information about those that are recording illnesses, that are recording deaths, that those we are isolating them and doing them separately from the rest of the heads.
This exercise has excited livestock farmers.
Imulimi wimvi azivubwa kutarigira ng'ombe impongo ngurube zonse zetuvuba zonse mulimi urampindu abobo mure kino kindi twaboterwa maningi kumfurumende mbuyatuma aba bantu ikutego bazotusirikire izivubwa zesu.
To prevent further spread of the disease to people and animals, government and its cooperating partners have heightened community sensitizations.
Together with our cooperating partners, in this case we are working with the breakthrough action to ensure that we sensitize our farmers on the need of vaccinating the animals, reporting suspected cases to the veterinary department, ensuring that they don't tamper with animals which they suspect to have died. Of course, even taking care of themselves.
Everyone in the community has a role to play in preventing and controlling the spread of anthrax disease. Costa Mdenda, Zanis, in Kazungula district, Southern Province.
Government says the approved issuance of statutory instrument on the minimum wage and conditions of employment by cabinet are only applicable to non-unionized and vulnerable workers across all sectors. Zanis reports that Minister of Labour and Social Security Brenda Tambatamba said the minimum wage and conditions of service, which was approved on 30th of October 2023, will take effect on 1st of January 2024. Speaking during a press briefing held at the Ministry of Information and Media today, Ms. Tambatamba explained that the categories for the approved minimum wages are domestic workers, shop workers, and the general order. The minister further disclosed that there are incentives to employers, which include the reduction of the penalty rate, which is applicable under the National Pension Scheme Authority (NAPSA) from 20% to 10%. Ms. Tambatamba further added that the approved issuance of the statutory instrument on NAPSA by Cabinet will reduce the debt burden for businesses and allow employers to clear their outstanding dues with NAPSA. And Zambia Congress of Trade Unions Secretary General Joy Bene said the move by government to approve the SI is welcome. Mr. Bene urged employers to adhere and comply with the new law.
On the 30th of October 2023, Cabinet approved the issuance of the statutory instruments on the minimum wages and conditions of employment. The approved minimum wages and conditions of service will cover domestic workers, shop workers, and all other workers who do not fall in the two categories earlier mentioned. The approved minimum wages and conditions of service were arrived at after an extensive consultation with the Tripartite Consultative Labour Council and other key stakeholders related to the labour matters. Further, the nation may also wish to note that The prescribed minimum wages and conditions of employment statutory instruments provide for the rates to be paid per hour as well, other than on a monthly basis. Take note that these rates can be paid per hour, per day, on a weekly basis, as well as on a monthly basis to workers as seen or considered suitable by any given employer, so long as they stay within what has been prescribed. Statutory instrument, but they can opt to pay on an hourly basis, they can pay on a daily basis, they can pay on a weekly basis, they can pay on a monthly basis within their financial capacities and capabilities.
Honorable Minister, we are delighted. This is a great day. We are being told what has come out. Colleagues, Cabinet approved the SI. What government through the Cabinet Office approved is purely our baby. What do I mean? This is what we prepared as Labour Advisory Committee, RAC, which feeds into the bigger body, the tripartite consultative. This is what we wanted.
I'd love to see a situation where all employers across the country comply to the new regulation, the new statutory instrument that has been put forth. We're also delighted to mention that there is now a tax waiver or a penalty waiver on NAPSA. The 10% reduction actually will actually bring more compliance in the employer side.
A delegation of Malawian members of parliament is in the country to learn from Zambia on how to implement the abolishing of the death penalty. Malawian Parliamentary Legal Affairs Committee Chairperson Albert Mbawali says Zambia has set a good precedent on the abolishing of the death penalty, which needs to be replicated in other countries. Speaking when he paid a courtesy call on Minister of Justice Mlambo Haimbe in Lusaka, Dr. Mbawali, who is the delegation leader, said Malawi has been undertaking a consultative process since 2015. Minister of Justice Mlambo Haimbe said the country is still dealing with how to handle the post-abolishing stage, even after removing the death penalty from Zambia's laws. The minister also said there are different aspects that need proper consideration, such as how the state handles victims and families of those that committed heinous crimes that would previously warrant a convict to be handed the death penalty. Mr. Haimbe added that the government stands ready to share the country's experience on how it has implemented the ban. In December 2022, Zambia became the 25th country in the world to ban the death penalty after President Hakainde Hichilema signed into law a Penal Code Amendment Bill number 25.
Coming here, as I said, is to reciprocate because you had your team in Malawi and purpose was to share experiences, on the abolition of the death penalty, on, how Zambia has done it. It's been very unprecedented how it's been done. In Malawi, yes, the process has been long. There's been a lot of lobbying, a lot of consultations, a lot of engagements. But I think what happened in Zambia was very unprecedented, that it didn't take much time. And we thought of sharing those experiences because you stand out, as people civilized. Talking of today, death penalty in our statutes is actually, very barbaric. The colonial masters rushed to their countries and abolished, these laws, but they remain our statutes. And as we move forward, it is very critical and very important that we actually go by the international standards. And Zambia sets a beautiful example on how it actually managed to take out, this barbaric law in the statutes of Zambian law, legal framework.
Because even as we have abolished the death penalty, the post-abolition phase is one where we are still learning, still ensuring that we try as much as possible to bring the people along. And this is something that we can equally learn your plans as to how you intend to deal with post-abolition, because our cultures are so similar. and our peoples are one people, like we keep on saying. So there will be similar constraints and issues that will arise, and this is how I think this will add value to the shared experiences during these 2 visits, so that we deal with these matters from a common perspective going forward. So we are very, very happy to talk about our journey with you in a little more detail. And we do appreciate the congratulations. We certainly will pass on the message to His Excellency the President, the warm regards and the strong congratulatory message that has come from Malawi.
We continue with the news. Government has engaged the Zambia National Service to work on a 30-kilometer stretch on the landless corner Mumba Road in Chibombo District, which is not tarred. Central Province Minister Princess Kasune says ZNS will also work on some selected feeder roads in Kembe constituency that become impassable during the rainy season. Details in the following report.
The poor state of the landless corner Mumba Road in Chibombo District has continued to be a source of concern for many people. Central Province Minister Princess Kasune and a team from the Zambia National Service, ZNS, inspected the road.
That's why we are really desperate to have this landless Mumba Road finished. Because you can see that even things which were put there, they have all now become obsolete.
Ms. Kasune, who is also Kembe Member of Parliament, disclosed that ZNS will work on the stretch that is not tarred to make it passable during the rain season.
I've been in conversation with the Minister of Infrastructure, Honorable Milupi, as well as the Minister of Finance, Honorable Musokotwani Stumbeko, but also we have engaged the commander for ZNS, and that is why his team is here, so that we see what can we do in the interim. So the whole idea is to try and create a stopgap measure before the rain starts and during the rains, as we look at RDA now finally doing what they need to do.
And ZNS is ready to start the works immediately.
There are some areas which require spot graveling, others we need to redefine this road. So by tomorrow, the director will say, I hope you are here. And my office here in Kawe, Zambia National Service, they need to sit quickly and come up with the costings. Not exaggerated costings, no. So that we quickly.
Absolutely.
This is a main effort where we need to come in very fast.
ZNS will also work on Kasekese, Kalola, Mwatsompola Chabona, and Mufwambe Liteta feeder roads. Trevor Wala for Zanis in Chibombo District.
Welcome back. The Transforming Landscape and Development Tailored Project says it has so far displaced over 40 million kwacha to 38 cooperatives in Mungwi District of Northern Province. Speaking in an interview with Zanis in Mungwi, Tailored District Operations Officer Chileshe Mumba says the funds are meant to uplift the livelihoods of people in the area in the wake of the challenges of climate change. Ms. Mumba said Tailored in Mungwi has scored a number of successes in promoting sustainable, resilient and diversified livelihoods in communities from the time it started in 2019. She said this when she paid a courtesy call on Sub-Chief Chimba of the Bemba-speaking people of Mungwi District, who has provided land to the beneficiaries of the funds. And Sub-Chief Chimba appealed to government to consider extending the project to other areas in his chiefdom. Meanwhile, Mungwi District Agriculture Supervisor Watson Banda said the project has helped to reduce poverty levels among beneficiary households.
From the onset of the project to date, 38 groups have been supported into implementation of various enterprises: livestock production, horticulture production, climate smart agriculture, thereby increasing the income levels even at individual household level. For all the projects that are under implementation in Mungwi District, we can say 40 million. All the projects that are being implemented are going to close to 40 million.
This program, I feel that it can be extended to other districts because it is really benefiting farmers. As I can say, this time we have got farmers whereby they are doing pass on goats, they are passing on goats. So we are seeing that the households will have a lot of livestock in this area. So I think farmers have benefited a lot in the Mungu district.
In Western Province, Action Aid Zambia is currently implementing a program aimed at training women groups in Nalolo district on the importance of forming saving groups, commonly known as silk groups. Speaking during a training held in Moyo area, Action Aid Zambia project officer Nyambe Muyambango emphasized the importance of providing women with necessary tools and resources to create a sustainable economic foundation for their families. More in the following report by Sifue Mwangala.
For many women in rural areas, accessing financial resources and establishing a stable economic base has been a challenge. However, ActionAid Zambia recognizes the potential of women to transform their lives and communities if given the proper support, and has since embarked on training women in Nalolo district on the importance of forming saving groups. Speaking during a training held at United Church of Zambia, UCZ in Moyo area, ActionAid Zambia project officer Nyambe Muyambango outlines the project's objectives.
The objective of this training is to enable the women gain financial solvency, stability, and also economic solvency. We've trained 4 groups here in Moyo, and then in Mukukutu and Nasiwayo we trained 11. So we are continuing to scale up the own savings lending for wealth creation.
The facilitators from the Department of Community Development encourage the women to embrace saving.
It's important because they can use the same savings they make as insurance funds. For example, if they save enough money, they'll be able to start up businesses that will help them and their families in future.
The participants acknowledge the value of gaining financial redress.
Nimusalikamiita kiye nasonera kubapanga akwiluna kiuna lweza face ma problems abana baona mwamalapa baba mbasali ne basazi mane mwakupulukira mashere niweza ngosakafu manafera wakamatisiza kwa maketi kono fake balobwa kuti lusikelwa cha kuchereranga uzibe kakubeyanga kwa tuko
misapili ni batakufitsa bwitumiro bwaka kuba Action Aid babatilo luluta ali tuto kuamana nisiuki zeza kusavinga luna basali kutolonga onga kulilweze tukwata twabasali totukai tusa kakusavinga.
At the end of the training, these women groups, consisting of 10 women in each group, will be empowered by ActionAid with a startup capital of 2,500 kwacha. Sifue Mwangala, Zanis, in Nalolo District, Western Province.
The news continues. Hakainde Entrepreneurship Mentorship Initiative has been launched in Northwestern Province, targeting 4,000 cooperatives in its first year of program implementation. Speaking at the launch in Solwezi, Provincial Permanent Secretary Grandson Katambi said the initiative is a platform for President Hakainde Hichilema in his private capacity to share his long-life entrepreneurship experience in business so that cooperatives also become successful entrepreneur organizations. Kanyo Katambi said within its scope and scale of mentorship and investment linkages, the Hakainde Entrepreneurship Mentorship Initiative will offer access to mentorship resources through collaboration with financial institutions and investors for funding opportunities. In Northwestern Province, the initiative is being implemented by Farmers Development Cooperative Union, FDCU, a cooperative that is promoting investment in Zambia by Zambians. And FDCU chairperson Giri Kakunta said the people in the province have hope that the two organizations will add value to the communities. In other news, the Public Service Microfinance Company has visited Zambia Air Force Base in Mumbwa in its continued tour of SAF bases in the country to engage officers on the Agriculture Asset Plus loan and other loan products that will enhance agriculture, promote tourism and investment in the country's public service. Microfinance Company Chief Information Officer Paul Hambote says this is a hit to presidential call of diversification in order for Zambia to be food secure. In health news, a group of cardiologists from the Stellenbosch University in Cape Town, South Africa are in the country to conduct cardiac skills transfer to Zambian medical personnel at the National Heart Hospital in Lusaka. James Malumba filed in this report.
A group of cardiologists from South Africa, Cape Town, are in the country to conduct cardiac skills transfer to medical personnel in the country. The team, which arrived 2 days ago, are at the National Heart Hospital, where they are conducting a new procedure called balloon mitral valvuloplasty. This type of procedure deals with cardiac disease known as severe mitral valve stenosis, a heart disease which is prominent in young people, especially pregnant women.
This is a procedure we do on patients that have got rheumatic heart disease, where one of the heart valves is very narrow, it doesn't open properly. And this unfortunately happens in young people. So what we do is try to make that opening bigger so that they can be better.
Stellenbosch University interventional cardiologist Dr. Hugh Mithwich explained more about the procedure.
This is a condition that is found mostly in Africa and in developing countries, and we in sub-Saharan Africa have one of the highest prevalence rates of rheumatic heart disease in the world. And yet a lot of people don't have access to it, and the alternative would be open heart surgery, which is also not always ideal with the follow-up, etc. And so there's a lot of people with this problem. They tend to be younger, they're very often women of childbearing age, and there's a lot of complications that can be fixed.
Dr. Magdalene Peterson is the cardiology unit manager at Stellenbosch University.
From the nursing side, that's what I'm here for, is to bring all our people up to standard, because at the end of the day, our motto in life must be to only give the best to our patients. Like I want to tell them they are in the best hands. Both Dr. Weich and Dr. Lorita, they're absolutely in the best hands.
The presence of the South African cardiologist at the National Heart Hospital has impressed management here.
In doing sonographies for pregnant women. Yeah. So one of the things we're looking at is capacitating them to be also doing echoes. Yeah. Because it's the same guy, and since you said that pregnant women also come in with these issues, meaning we can also pick it up much earlier. Yeah. Yeah.
Jane Simalumba Zanis in Osaka.
And Zambia will, from the 7th to the 10th of November 2023, host the African Union AU Extraordinary Specialized Technical Meeting on Health, Population and Drug Control, with a focus on the 10th year review of the implementation of the Addis Ababa Declaration on Population and Development. The declaration represents Africa's renewed commitment to advance the International Conference on Population and Development agenda in Africa. More in the following report.
Issues of population and development remains cardinal to sustainable development among African states. Thus, the Addis Ababa Declaration on Population and Development, AADPD, in Africa beyond 2014 was adopted by African ministers at the Regional Conference on Population and Development in Addis Ababa in October 2013 and consequently endorsed by the African Union Executive Council in 2014. The declaration represents Africa's renewed commitment to advance the International Conference on Population and Development (ICPD) agenda in Africa. This year, Zambia will, from the 7th to the 10th of November 2023, host the African Union Extraordinary Specialized Technical Meeting on Health, Population and Drug Control, with the focus on the 10-year review or the implementation of the Addis Ababa Declaration on Population and Development. The United Nations Population Fund is working with African countries in the implementation of the ICPD agenda. UNFPA's country representative Seth Brookman states the significance of the meeting and highlights some of the programs the organization is supporting in Zambia.
This conference is very much supported. We supported the African Union and the host, the government of Zambia, with having this conference, demonstrating the leadership of Zambia in taking the ICPD forward. But particularly in Zambia, UNFPA is the organization that supports the government, working with development partners, other UN agencies and civil society organizations, basically to focus on three things. And we support them, one, that every pregnancy is intended, so by choice, not by chance. Secondly, that there's no woman who will die while giving life.
Director in charge of Population and Development at the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Reverend Charles Banda, also gives an insight on some of the achievements made in Zambia since the ICPD and the declaration.
Number one, when it comes to maternal mortality, we have seen a reduction of maternal mortality because of the implementation of the program of action that was done, and also through the Addis Ababa Declaration on Population and Development, where our African ministers, including our own minister that is in charge of population, have been implementing. And the other issues also is that infant mortality has also seen its reduction.
Ethel Chanda, reporting for Zanis in Lusaka.
Still in health news, Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo is calling on the health personnel in Lusaka district to intensify cervical cancer screening sensitization. Ms. Masebo was surprised when she learned that 11 out of 33 women screened for cervical cancer during the free medical camp at Makeni Islamic Clinic were found to have pre-cancer cells. Michelle Mwemba brings us more in the following report.
Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo says there is need for a robust cervical cancer screening campaign by health personnel in the Lusaka district. Ms. Masebo, who attended the 12th free medical camp at Makeni Islamic Clinic, organized by the Muslim Social and Welfare Trust, visited various sections offering various medical services, including cervical cancer screening, where 11 out of 33 women screened were found with pre-cancer cells.
So it tells me that quite a number of our women have cervical cancer. So we need to do more screening. Not outreach doing it, outreach announcing, educating them, raising awareness on the need for cervical cancer screening, because this has become quite a big problem now. So how many do you say you screen?
We screened three this morning, yes.
And five?
Five we've treated them for pre-cancer cells. And 6 we've referred them.
Ms. Masebo also visited the ultrasound section where she learned that pregnant women are charged a fee at health facilities in order to access the services.
The pregnant mothers, are they charged when they come to the clinic? They are not. I hope so they are not. Next time, so why are we charging people?
It's actually a secret to that.
Yeah, so I'm wondering. And that's why most mothers are not going for screening. It is because they're being charged. That's what I know. No pregnant mother must be charged for ultrasound and screening.
Muslim Social and Welfare Trust Vice Chairperson appreciates the cordial relationship that has been existing since 2008 with the government.
We agree on this, my dear brothers, our Honorable Member of Parliament, in order to supplement the government of the day.
Kanyama Member of Parliament Monty Jinkuli and Lusaka District Administrative Officer O'Neil Jia, standing in for Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu, have called for more stakeholders to come on board and supplement government effort in the provision of various services.
We have got policies that allow whoever has got expertise, whoever can donate something, whoever to partner with government and to come up with it.
We want to appeal to other organizations so that they also come on board.
Mijelo Mwemba reporting for Zanis in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, authorities at Ngawe District Health Office have appealed to the Zambia Flying Doctor Service to conduct outreach programs more often in the area. Ngawe District Acting Clinical Care Officer Fraser Chanda says the district is a hard-to-reach area and services that are offered by the Zambia Flying Doctors makes a difference in the lives of the people in the district. Daniel Billy now reports.
She has lived with cataract for 7 years. All efforts to have a cataract removed failed due to lack of resources by her parents. I have tried in so many ways. I've even been to clinics on 3 occasions until I was referred to Kitwe. But I've never gone to Kitwe because I have no money. However, in an effort to bring healthcare services closer to the people, the Zambia Flying Doctors Service team is in the area for an outreach program and has spotted little Justina.
And Justina Nchimunya is one of the patients that we found here at this center. She was born with cataract in both eyes, and she has not been given any attention towards her eyes for the past 7 years that she was born.
And cataract surgeon Oliver Ching explains Justina's condition after an operation.
The girl is, because she has stayed for a long time without seeing, the focus of her eyes are not as such, but we have proved that the girl is sane because she was able to walk, meet the father, she was able to walk, meet the doctor and the people who were around. She was able to tell us the colors, that is green, that is red, and the like, which was very interesting.
But how long does Justina expect to get her full recovery?
Recovery is every hour or every minute. As she goes on, every minute, every hour, somebody's improving. The eyesight is getting better. Mind you, we use some water to wash out the cataracts. And part of that water remains. So as that water is clearing, going out, somebody also is improving.
The district health office is happy to be a recipient of services from the Flying Doctors.
You know, it's an indication that we are heading in the right direction. And if such activities can be given to our people more often, really, it can make a huge difference. We are very thankful and we appreciate very much to be recipients of these services from Flying Doctors.
Daniel Billy for Zanis News in Ingabwe District, Central Province.
In other news, a local non-governmental organization in Chipata District called Chisomo Community Program has commended government for providing an enabling environment for youths and adolescents to access various services ranging from health, education, and skills development. Chisomo Executive Director Annie Chiseni has since called on the need for more sensitization on how youths can access such services. More in the following report.
The adolescents in Eastern Province have been given a platform to address the various challenges they face, ranging from health, education, and skills development. A local non-governmental organization called Chisomo Community Program organized a social audit meeting in Chipata District targeted at getting first-hand information on the difficulties the youths are facing. Chisomo Community Program Executive Director Annie Chiseni outlines the importance of the meeting.
Today we have this meeting to discuss issues that affect our young people. When we go out in the field, there are questions that we are not able to answer as Chisomo. There are questions from the young people that are asking about the issues that are affecting them in terms of access to services. And these services include health and non-health services. Hence, we have counselors here, we have health service providers, we also have the young people themselves to discuss the issues that affect them and let the leaders explain to them what is it that they are doing to help the young people. The CTF now, there are young people that do not know how to access that service. And so we have our leaders here that will be able to explain so that the young people can access those services.
The youths outlined the challenges they face.
Budget presentation was done, and always the budget presentation for the nation is when it is done. There's a sector where the money goes for Minister of Health. Then there are budgets for facilities. So mostly from the facilities, we don't see money trickle down from the provincial, from the district, then goes to the facility. So my question is that do we have a budget that is good, that supports the facilities? So because I haven't seen money being utilized that are meant for adolescents and young people. from the youth-friendly spaces. So do you have a budget, and how can we track that from last year that the budget was allocated, but the money, how was it used?
Sometimes in terms of sexual reproductive. So Papa clinic in charge and so my address is they say no. If we send to maybe not maybe on STIs, nifuna kuonezea kwa symbols ya STIs or nifuna kwa symbols ya child. So azaenda wazafunza kuti waende kulima ndani peer to peer. Point sana. So that if you are lacking these peer educators, nishi ma English yama ndani yama STIs it can be also increased.
And the stakeholders in attendance addressed various issues.
But political interference, that disadvantages is what we don't need to uphold and support. So political interference, it's a case by case. I thought that my colleagues, my youth, and Ankara specific. I applied in this case, then would have weighed in. There is some political interference, but it's not in everything. And also we need to be specific. There's bad political, influence. And also there's good political influence in this CDF project programs.
And one thing that we should know is re-entry is a policy. And so no one debates with the police, no one. So none in our Ministry of Education should actually say when we're in school, so late at school. I think when that is found out, when we know for sure that this is happening, I think there are always disciplinary measures that they have to be taken.
Sylvester Shimba for Zanis in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
In Lusaka Province, National Guidance and Religious Affairs Director Sunday Mwape says the department has entered into an agreement with the Ministry of Education to incorporate national principles and values in the school curriculum. Dr. Mwape says the content will be cross-cutting from early childhood education up to grade 12, and the technocrats are also pushing to have the content included in the tertiary education. He was speaking during a stakeholders consultative meeting held in Chilanga District with participants from both government and non-governmental organizations. Details in the following report by Nkweto Kapekele.
The National Guidance and Religious Affairs Policy seeks to transform people's mindsets and behaviors in order to achieve harmonized goals towards Vision 2030 and beyond, and the fulfillment of the 8th National Development Plan, while upholding the National Constitution. It is against this background that the department has held a consultative meeting with stakeholders from different sectors of society to get views on how best the policy can be implemented.
It is challenging to pursue socio-economic development without looking at the minds of the people and their character. We have gotten into an agreement with Ministry of General Education that our national values and principles are now going to be part of the general school curriculum. Across from early childhood education up to grade 12. The assistant director and the colleagues, they have also worked hard to continue pushing the agenda that even in the university, we should have generic courses that are going to be responsible in propagating or accounting for these national values and principles.
Cooperating partners from non-governmental institutions had this to say.
As an institute, we support and stand with the government of the day on the inclusion of values and ethics training at all levels of education, both in public and private learning institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, true education ought to do more than equip people to earn a living. We require more than mere competence at the workplace. We need to pass on good morals and values to our children through the education system.
We are hopeful that through the partnerships given to SDM Consulting and Coaching Services and the Ethical Institute and Leadership Academy to assist Cabinet Office, Office of the Vice President, Department of National Guidance and Religious Affairs, who have the mandate to propagate the values and principles using our proven tools, will be supported.
The church has noted that much needs to be done in order to enhance moral values in the society.
There are a lot of things that find their way in this nation, and when they get into this nation, they take root and begin to spread everywhere. They stay. Sometimes I joke to say, is it because we are a landlocked country that things come and stay? Even bad things want to stay forever. But I challenge myself and say, yes, we may be a landlocked country, but our heads are not landlocked. Our heads are open to new things. So on behalf of the participants, I want to assure everyone here and our leadership that we are ready to embrace new things, new ways of working in order for us to become better as a nation.
A morally upright nation is one of the cornerstones of achieving meaningful, sustainable socio-economic development, as it promotes peace and unity and starts from the smallest unit in the community, which is the family. Nkwetoka Pekele, Zanis, Chilanga.
Finally, in the news, Chief Machia of the Lamba-speaking people in Bongwe district on the Copperbelt province has appealed to the government to construct a bridge on Kafue River, as the current pontoon being used is constantly breaking down and affecting the movement of goods in his chiefdom. The chief made the appeal when Copperbelt Minister Elisha Matambo paid a courtesy call on him that a permanent solution should be found to address the problem of the pontoon, which affects the delivery of farming inputs. More in the following report.
The people in Machia Chiefdom have been depending on this pontoon to ferry their goods and to stay connected with the rest of the members in Impongwe district. However, the constant breakdown of this pontoon has made Chief Machia of the Lamba-speaking people to appeal for the construction of a bridge along this Kafue River as a permanent solution to ease the movement of goods and people. The chief, who spoke through his representative when Copperbelt Minister Elisha Matambo visited his chiefdom, notes that constructing a bridge will help in opening up his chiefdom to development.
This may not leave out the question for constructing the bridge, crossing the bridge, the Kafue River, and lack depending on the pontoon, which is not reliable as it is today.
Mr. Matambo, who also toured the pontoon, acknowledged that the current pontoon affects business and cuts off people when it breaks down.
All the chiefs in Impongwe, their cry is to have a bridge at this river. And we have promised that we'll take this issue to the president, we'll take the issue to the Minister of Infrastructure, knowing my president, when he came here for campaigns, these are some of the issues I think we were talking about, to put the bridge here. So, in order to show that chiefs have faith in the president, that we will already named this bridge. This bridge will be called Akainde Ichirema Bridge. That is the faith they have in President Akainde Ichirema.
Constructing a bridge will indeed ease the movement of people in Machia Chiefdom and avoid being cut off, as was the case in 2014 when a truck laden with maize and fish caused this pontoon to sink. Tovini Ngombe, Zanis, Impongwe district.
That item from the Copperbelt brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of stories that made headlines. Government to vaccinate 33,000 animals in Kazungula against anthrax. $40 million Kwacha climate funds disbursed to 38 Mungu cooperatives. Zambia to host the 10th African Union Extraordinary Meeting on Health, Population and Drug Control. Plus, government to incorporate national principles, values in school curriculum. That's all we could package in this bulletin. On behalf of the entire production team, this has been Michelle Olubinda. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, it's bye-bye and God bless.